Hello and welcome to my 23andMe ancestry composition. As you can see from the map, I am mostly European with surprisingly a little bit of North African and Middle Eastern. So let's do a little investigation. All right, so obviously I'm 96.7% European. This is no surprise since I had a grandfather who was Italian, a grandmother who's Lithuanian, a grandmother who's Polish, and a grandfather who was actually born in Slovakia. And it's so interesting to not see like Slovakia specifically mentioned since my grandfather was actually born there. But as you know, borders change, thousands of years of people traveling through Europe, etc., etc. So, Eastern European, no surprise here. None at all. Slovak, Polish. So, let's just look. See, there it is, right there. My dad, via his mom, was Polish. So, there's Lithuania, my grandmother from Lithuania. Well, born in America, but both of her parents came over from Lithuania. Her father came over. Ukraine, I don't know about this. It's probably just related to, in my opinion, probably the Lithuanian ancestry. So that's no surprise there. Southern European, no surprise here, because my grandfather, his father came over from Naples. So let's see what it specifically says. All right, Italy. And you can see it's southern Italy specifically because my Italian family does come from Naples. And so that is just really no surprise there at all. Greek and Balkan, I find that kind of interesting. Again, it could just be related to being from southern Italy, that kind of area. And then the broadly southern European. So just of that area. Now, northwestern European. This is really interesting. I have none of this background in my family that I know of. No one's ever talked about this, like the fact that I could be, a little German, a little French. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, again, people moved around. Who knows a long, long time ago where my ancestors could have come from. And then again, broadly European, just from the fact, could be from anywhere around there. Now, this is the real interesting one. This African and Middle Eastern. I'm thinking that it's probably from my mom's side because in Sicily and southern Italy, you do have Arabic influences in that region. So maybe somewhere down the line, look, it says northern West Asia, broadly northern West Asian, Arab Egyptian. I mean, this is like really crazy. I would have never thought this in like a billion thousand years. But I'm thinking it's coming from the southern Italy part because they did have some influence there. So that's my broad makeup. Okay. Now let's go back here. I do have some Neanderthal ancestry. Let's see if it loads here. It's been a little slow. Here we go. I have more than 81% of the other customers, but I have less than 2% Neanderthal DNA. So out of the 2,800 variants, I have 298. So it's funny because this makes it seem like, oh my gosh, I'm like mostly Neanderthal, but really at the end of the day, it's not that big of a deal. Now, I wanted to try to find one more thing to explain. Oh boy, I don't know where it is now. Let me see. Oh, Ancestry timeline. So it's interesting that this Eastern European is, 1 to 3 generations, obviously. But you see this French and German, it goes back 5 to 8 generations. So who knows, you know what I mean? How that, and the Greek and Balkan also 4 to 7 generations ago. You can see that I am, according to my, if you look at my grandparents' direct lineage, Polish, Slovak, Lithuanian, Eastern European, and then Italian, coming from Naples. So that makes a lot of sense there. And those other DNA parts that to me don't seem legit, like Greek, Balkan, French, German, are way, way, way back. So I think this is like the coolest thing of all time. This is a real interesting part that is kind of new, is this traits. Ability to match pitch, 50-50. I can obviously do that. Asparagus, back hair, bald spot, bitter taste, bunions, cheek dimples. I mean, this is like incredible. Likely no hair loss. I mean, I have a typical, what's it called, male pattern baldness, but I'm not like bald. I do have hazel eyes, eye color, likely brown or hazel. I am afraid of heights, kind of, but not really, really. I do not have a fear of public speaking. Finger length ratio, likely ring finger longer. That's interesting. I mean, this is like really interesting stuff. They're getting super specific. Mosquito bite frequency, likely bitten as often as others. Motion sickness, less likely. Actually, I do get motion sick in certain situations. Newborn hair, I was bald. I mean, maybe like peach fuzz, but I didn't have any hair. So this photic sneeze reflex, this does happen to me. If I walk out into like the bright sun, I will start to sneeze, and that's very interesting. No red hair, lighter skin. I mean, I'm white, so I guess I'm not like pale. I've always thought, because I'm like a part Italian, I kind of have like olive skin, as they say. I tan very easy. I do not have a unibrow. I have no widow's peak. If you haven't done 23andMe, it's like a super interesting thing. Thanks for watching, guys.